My doctor, after looking at the results, basically said, "Oh my God, what's going on? This just is a miracle. He's never seen anything like it, especially on a natural basis. And he wants to know more." I'm Canadian by background. I live in New York. I grew up a lifelong vegetarian for cultural, religious reasons. And, you would think, hey, being a vegetarian, that's healthy. And in fact, not all vegetarians, vegans are alike. As we know, you could be a bad vegan, a good vegan. And I've dealt with weight issues up and down. I've been extremely healthy where I had a six pack, and I've gained weight in certain periods. Where my kind of negative journey started was back in 2010. I'm a Wall Street guy, worked some crazy hours, and it was really starting in 2010 when I was at probably the best of health I had been in. I just got into this spiral of trying to excel in life through a stronger career. It was really the beginning of my 30s. Today I'm 39. So I'm just kind of taking 10 years back, and it feels like I lost my 10 years. But during that 10-year period, I went from a weight of 170 and ballooned to almost 250. So that was the max. And during that time, it was a constant battle of, it almost became food addiction. So the excuse was I was too busy for work. I've got a whole bunch of businesses, and I was just constantly focused on that, but wasn't exercising and wasn't taking care of myself. But the excuse was work and trying to find success or an inkling of success at the detriment of my health. Being a vegetarian, I really focused on trying to eat healthy, but it was bad, as I mentioned. But food became my crutch to relieve stress, but it was making more stressed with bad eating habits. Anyways, so that just ballooned, and I did have a family history of diabetes. In fact, come from a South Asian subculture that's vegetarian, and very high incidence of diabetes. Close to 70% of urban dwellers within the state of Gujarat in India is diabetic. I tried a vegan diet, juice fasts, and nothing was really sticking. And I would say I pride myself in being able to do good research for a very long period of time. In fact, a lot of people came to me for good help, but I was following normal stuff that was showing up on Men's Health and various different articles. So I was on top of all that, but the big thing that kept on popping up was low carbs, higher protein, and it worked for me in my 20s. But for last probably 25 years, when my father and my grandmother were diagnosed with diabetes, the one common thing that's been told here within the Indian community, whatever you talk to anyone, it's forget potatoes, forget fruits, avoid sugar, avoid sweets, and you'll be healthy. And that just wasn't working, as we know. So in 2016, at the end of 2016, I was officially diagnosed with diabetes. Before that, I was actually diagnosed with fatty liver disease, or non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is enlarged liver. And how that showed up was through elevated ALT levels or enzymes. I think I hit around 140. I forget the exact units, but it was definitely way out there and kind of freaked my doctors out. And started looking into it. Definitely it was fatty liver. And I was trying to lose weight, I was told basically cut out sugars, cut out carbs, same type of diagnosis, but it wasn't really working. One of the key reasons why some of those diets weren't working was it just wasn't satisfying to the body. I think the body, when you have a satisfactory diet or intake, if your body's liking it, it's going to respond fairly quickly. And these weren't responding quickly. And, I was in a rut, and I'm a momentum-based type of guy. If I see a positive momentum, I'm going to jump on the bandwagon and keep going. With these things, it just wasn't working. There was an emotional toll as well. So at the age of 39, almost 39, I'm the proud father of two boys. And for the last 8 or 9 years, I just haven't been able to play with them. I was just emotionally not there, physically not there. And what I realized there's always a spark in people. At some point, you weigh your positives and your negatives. And the spark for me was one day I overheard my younger son talk to my older son, and they wanted to play basketball with me. But the younger son basically told my older son that, forget dad, he's lazy, he's overweight, and he just won't be able to play, and he never plays with us. And I overheard that, and that was emotionally striking because, I'm not even 40 yet. I know physically things were getting worse, but I'm losing my family, and that really hurt. But when I talked to my endocrinologist, she said, there's no way. It's a lifelong disease, and you just can't do it. And, I fought with her, we just kind of sparred back and forth. This was about a year and a half ago, but she convinced me it's impossible. Take metformin. You can maybe make it better. You can make your A1C a little bit better through diet and control, but reversal is not even an issue. And then March 1st, I joined Mastering Diabetes officially, followed the whole concept of low fat. In fact, a lot of my ballooning in a recent year was because of increase of olive oil, thinking that's great. Also thinking about, the keto diet and just dumping a lot of olive oil here and there, eating a lot of cheese. And as soon as I got rid of that, within a week, my fasting blood sugars went from 150s into the hundreds. Within 2 weeks, I was down. So I'm assuming I've got pretty strong C-peptide levels and good beta cells, but the reversal is very, very quick. And basically since then, just been following this low-fat, whole foods, plant-based diet, really following the Mastering Diabetes principles. And diabetic condition was reversing really quickly. Enlarged liver, the enzyme levels were starting to fall, and the weight was coming off very quickly. The first month, I lost about 12 pounds. The second month, it was another 10 pounds. So as I mentioned before, I'm a momentum-based guy, and just it worked. So where I am today, it's been 7 months. I'm down almost 60 pounds. So I'm at 190 pounds versus 250 or 249. I would say I'm my fasting blood sugars on a daily basis are absolutely under 100, usually plus or minus a couple of points around 90. So weight's down. My A1C just last month was 5.2, so a drop from my highest at 7.4. I'm off metformin, not taking any pills. By the way, I had a stack of different pills out for an enlarged liver. I was told to take milk thistle. I was taking some Ayurvedic pills, and for a year and a half, 2 years, nothing was working, even though I was religious in those herbal medicines. So clearly they didn't work. ALT just recently was 16, definitely with fatty liver, enlarged liver, diabetes. I had increasing cholesterol. So my cholesterol hit close to 200, I had increasing LDL, triglycerides, and all that has been largely reversed and brought down quite a bit. So most recently, my total cholesterol is 149, so right underneath that 150 mark for long-term health. HDL is 40, my LDL is 94. My triglycerides are a little bit high, but it makes sense as you're losing weight, your body's removing all those fatty acids. So it's at 70, and everything else looks great. My doctor, after looking at the results, basically said, "Oh my God, what's going on? This just is a miracle." He's never seen anything like it, especially on a natural basis. And he wants to know more. When you're eating this way and your sugar numbers drop, your fasting blood sugar numbers drop, your cholesterol drops so quickly, your body's thanking you, and you have to listen up for that. And so those who are doubting that this method works, let the numbers speak for itself.